Greetings, mathematicians of all ages. Last time we spent time modeling the multiplication of decimals and division. Today we're going to actually multiply decimals. So to do that, I'd like to just start out the lesson by putting 4 problems down, and I'd actually like you to use your calculator. I'd like you to do 36 times 56. I'd like you to do 3.6 times 5.6, so just type these in. 0.36 times 56, and finally let's do 0.36 times 0.56. So pause the video, type those into your calculator, write down the answers in your notebook. Alright, so what you end up getting for the first one is 2016. Now we could do that by hand, and we will do it by hand, but for now you get 2016. For the second one you get 20.16. For this one, you also get 20.16, and for this last one, finally, we get 0.2016, right? All right, we'll come back to that later to see why that happened, and it'll make sense in a bit. First, let's review a little bit of our adding decimals. So if I have 3.62 plus 0.42, you know from our jingle, when adding decimals, you line up the decimal points, right? We have to set it up with decimals lined up and then go from there. All right, subtracting the same, right? When subtracting decimals, you line up the decimal points. All right, for multiplication, we have a brand new beat, so our adding and subtracting decimals was more of a jazzy feel. Our multiplying kind of has more of a rock funk feel, all right? This involves stomping your feet, clapping your hands as you do it. And so let me just show you what that sounds like. It sounds like this. When multiplying decimals, don't line up the decimal points. Just count how many decimal places come after the decimal points. Okay? So I'm going to bring up the lyrics here. What I want you to do is copy those lyrics down in your notebooks. Pause it while you need to do that, and then we'll sing that jingle a couple times together, all right? All right, so you should have these in your notebook. If you don't, just pause a little longer, get those down. All right, so again, the beat is a rock funk beat, so it's stomp, stomp, clap, stomp, stomp, clap. Try to avoid the we will rock you beat, you know? It's more of a driving rock beat. We don't want that. We want a rock funk beat, so it's when multiplying decimals, don't line up the decimal points. Just count how many decimal places come after the decimal points. Okay, so I'm going to sing it once more, and then what you need to do is rewind it like at least 3 times and try to do it with the video. Yes, others will probably be doing it in the lab. That's okay. Do it on your own. So here's again. When multiplying decimals, don't line up the decimal points. Just count how many decimal places come after the decimal points. So rewind that a couple times, play it a couple times, sing it a couple times, and then resume. All right, let's look at what that actually means. So in my first example, I did 36 times 56, right? And if we just do that straight up, this is a process we all got to have by this point. We do the 6 times the 6, 3 goes up there, 6 times 3 plus 3 gives us 21. We get a 0, we always drop a 0 there. 6 times 5 is 30. It's another 3 up there, right? And then 5 times 3 plus 3 will be an 18. We add them together, we get 6, 1, 0, 2, because that one goes up there. Okay, and this we've been doing for a couple years now, so this should feel pretty familiar. Now, let's look at one. I don't know if this was like my second one, but we'll do it anyway here. 3.6 and 5.6. Now, all the math is going to end up being exactly the same. All this stuff will look the same because I can pretty much ignore the decimals, right? So I get to 2016, but what I mean in the jingle by count how many decimal places come after the decimal point, that's all of these guys. So there's one number here. There's one number here that are after those decimal points. So down in my final answer, I need two numbers after my decimal point, and the 1 and the 6 are both after, right? If I did 0.36 and 5.6, all the math would look the same as this, right? But now in this case, I have two numbers in this one number in this one, which means I need three numbers after the decimal point. Okay, so why don't I put a few down? You're going to try these, so let's do 1.36 times 24, and let's do 0.353 times 0.12. Okay, pause, give those a shot. All right, so when you set them up, we don't line up the decimal points. It just doesn't matter. If I lined them up, that would be like this, right? When we were adding, but we don't care about that. We're not going to do that anymore. Okay, so I'll put the 24 here. Now I'll just do all the math. 14, 5, throw my 0 there, 12, bring up the 1, 7, 2. I add them, just like we always do. 4, 6, 2, bring up the 1, 3. So I have 3264. I see two places after the decimal there, none in this bottom number, so it just means I need 2 in my final, 32.64. Okay, in the top one, or the second one, I'm again not going to care about lining up decimals, right? I'm just going to put them right in there, and then I'm going to count later. So we got a 6, 10, 7, 0, 3, 5, 3. We add. Now this is an interesting one because you'll notice I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decimals, but I actually only have 4 numbers down at the bottom. So in this case, what I actually have to do is add a 0 there and then put my decimal so that I get 5 numbers after the decimal point. Okay? So pretty straightforward lesson. Work on the jingle, remember the jingle, and you should be okay on multiplying decimals as long as you remember this basic process. We add the decimals in at the end, and soon we're ready to move on to dividing decimals. All right, see you next time.